And good morning, everybody. It is Wonderful Wednesday with Lenora Edwards. Now, Lenora, I first met you at a hypnosis conference. It was the ICBCH one in Florida. And we immediately got on because we had something in common. And it was dementia, because you were actually a speech pathologist. So, Lenora, tell us a little bit about that, first of all.
Absolutely. You and I had such a fun time at that conference, and thank you so much for having me here. I do have a background in speech pathology, and in that, I often tell people we work with children all the way from the NICU all the way up to seniors that are 100 plus years old. So my variability in being able to navigate that world is extremely high, because we work on language, we work on communication, and we absolutely work on swallowing and being able to safely eat.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so because people do have issues with swallowing.
Very much so. Very, very much so. And one of the things, so I very specifically did not have difficulty swallowing, but I had a lot of issues with food. And my area of specialty in the work that I do now, I had a complete career change navigating away from speech pathology, in the sense of my niche is really helping people with eating disorders and emotional eating. And realizing there are people that had difficulty eating, and then there were also people like myself who were having a horrible relationship with food, and what else was going on, because structurally everything else was perfectly fine.
Right. Okay. So yes, so they could eat, but then there was something bigger going on. So how did you get into this niche area of eating disorders, Lenora? Are you okay to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Very specifically, I got into the area because I had my own battles going on. So I had an eating disorder and emotional eating ties to food for well over 2 decades of my life. And I had worked very hard on what I affectionately call YouTube University. I went to YouTube looking up so many questions and so many attempts to try and help myself, because of the experience that I was having, because of my refusal to eat, because of my behavior of spitting food out, because of my awful relationship with food. What else was going on? And I couldn't figure it out, because what was the trigger as to why I was having these behaviors? And for sure, people who are in addictions, people who are stuck in these habits, they know they're not good habits. They're very aware of it. How you stop it without crossing your fingers and white knuckling through the process is an entirely different world. And that's how I got into the world of hypnosis and neurolinguistics and understanding mindset.
Yeah. Yes. And how long was it? But people would be curious about this, because this is a big hot topic and people don't like to talk about it because it is actually very scary, and it can cause all sorts of terrible issues within the family, arguments and stress. And because you, like me, we know, the first thing that we do when we come out of the womb is we feed, we
Absolutely.
suckle, we feed. And being a mother myself, it's like, if the child's not eating, it's like, oh my gosh, because we know we need the nourishment. So, just tell me more. What how long was this going on for you?
Absolutely. So especially even, and that's such a beautiful segue of when children are born, eating, nutrition, it is vital to their existence. And it's also a comfort. It's a safety.
Mm-hmm.
When you're warm, when you have a full belly, those are signals to your nervous system that you are safe.
Yeah.
And as we grow up, as we start to develop in the world of children and in the world of being a teenager, you start to get all these mixed messages as to eating habits. What is appropriate to eat? As in, what is nutritious versus what is junk food? What is comfort food? And we start to sort these categories. Then they go into other categories. What's good and what's bad? And when we're, especially in our culture, it is designed to, here's comfort food, here's nutritious food. And naturally, as we're growing up, we're wanting to take care of ourselves and we're wanting to rebel. So when you rebel against something, you're like, I don't want to eat my vegetables. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to eat what I want. And when you want to eat what you want, you will find ways to eat what you want. Now, among the many things that go into emotional eating and eating disorders, when we're seeking comfort, when we're seeking safety, or when we're seeking ways to rebel, we
Mm.
often go to food. If it's not food, a lot of people go to drinking. There are ways that are smoking. We work to cope with the stress and we work to empower ourselves, as in, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
And that's a very natural part of life, among the many things that go into it. So, really, I know I'm trying to give a more of an umbrella type situation to narrowing this down. But food is connected to so many different things. Think about your first birthday. Think about any time you have a birthday, you're seeking cake. You're like, oh, it's time to celebrate. Family dinners, it's time to bond. This is a comforting
Yeah.
thing.
Hmm.
I'm stressed. I can't do anything but just sit down and eat a tub of ice cream.
Hmm.
More connections to food because we're constantly seeking safety and comfort. We're designed that
And
way.
it gives a dopamine fix. Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. When we start having bad relationships with food, such as refusing to eat or bringing food up, we're looking at much deeper situations. We're looking at things like, are we worthy? Are we deserving? Are we enough? And especially in today's world, which is now 2025, which is very different from when I grew up in the 90s and late 80s, the signals and the information and the marketing that is going to people of all ages, it's not just women, it's not just men, to people of all ages, is extraordinarily damaging to their identity. And we really need to have that conversation and keep it open so that people can have these conversations that say, I'm having a really bad relationship with food and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. And it is that deservability factor. And that's one question I will often ask people. It's and you can see them, they literally go, they can cry, and it sounds awful, but actually we want to know the emotion and where's that
Mhm.
from, and find out. And then you and I, we can both clear things like that pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So it's okay to bring it up, but we need to get to the root of the issue,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
So it's so what's next for you as well, Lenora? I know we mentioned a book, so
We did. We did. I actually wrote a book recently and it's called Food, Feelings, and Freedom. And it'll be coming out soon. So it's still in the final stages of processing. But it's really designed off of what I refer to as my Be Free method, which is all around people, all designed to help people let go of their emotional ties to food and to help them really break free and be free from all these limitations and all these restrictions that they've self-imposed over time. So
yeah,
beginning with awareness and helping ourselves really understand the emotions as to either why we're refusing to eat or why we're seeking food to begin with. There's an emotional driver.
yeah.
And if you think about the channel of our voice
Hmm.
and where we actually consume food and we swallow our food, the channel right by is our voice. So if we're seeking food because maybe our boss didn't hear us, or maybe we got in a fight with our significant other and we weren't heard, you're quite literally going past the emotional channel and swallowing your words
Yeah,
and working to get yourself back to that safety, that security. And when I really started to notice that, and especially in the world of being a people pleaser, and I was the former president of the people pleasing world, when I couldn't hold a boundary, when I couldn't speak up for myself and really feel like I was heard without being shamed, I was seeking food because there was so much else going on. And I was trying to get myself back to what felt safe and what felt comforting to me.
yeah,
And yeah, that's food right at the beginning.
yeah. It's so true. Or it could be alcohol, or it could be drugs, or it could be whatever, but
Absolutely.
because everybody's different.
Absolutely.
It's but I absolutely agree. You have to notice what's going on. And that book, so tell me more. Is that book for people with the issue, or is it, say, the parents, or both, or who would want to buy that book?
That's such a beautiful question. And really, it is written for the person who is experiencing emotional eating,
Hmm.
who's finding ways to seek food and recognizing, I don't want to be eating right now, but I can't stop.
Yeah.
That's really there's when that happens, when we're reaching for food and it feels like we can't stop, our system's on autopilot. And it's beautifully designed to keep us safe. And
Mhm.
that's a good thing. We're designed that way. We want to be that way. At the same time, we might not want to be eating 16 Oreos, or we might not want to be eating the 1 pound bag of M&Ms, but for some reason, we can't stop.
Yeah.
That my book is designed specifically for those people who are saying, I know I don't have a great relationship with food. I know I want to improve, and I know white knuckling it and starting a diet every Monday isn't my thing.
Yeah.
That's who this book is designed for.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. And it's so, and because I think acceptance is a really important thing as well for people, you know, to accept ourselves, warts and all our funny little
Yeah.
quirks, because we're all a little bit annoying, we're all a little bit weird. And what do you think to that, Lenora?
I love that. Really finding ways to accept ourselves. And when it comes to the personal growth community, or the what's been labeled the self-help community, and I reframed it to be considered help yourself. Help yourself, like welcome to the world's greatest smorgasbord. We have our quirks. We have things that we don't necessarily love about ourselves, but we can still find ways to appreciate them, integrate them, and help ourselves and use them in ways that are helpful to us
Hmm.
and to other people.
Yeah. Yeah, because then they might copy as well, because it can be, you know, especially in a family situation, people will copy. So I had a client recently, and I'll just share this with you. So she said to me, you know, I am all or nothing. She said, people say I hear people saying, oh, I drink a bottle of wine a night. She goes, I'll drink two. They
Mhm,
say, oh, I eat too much cake. She goes, I'll eat the whole cake. She goes,
mhm,
and I'll do that for like 3 weeks. And then for the other 3 weeks, I will just exercise,
yeah,
and eat only greens and healthy and nothing else. And then all of
mhm,
a sudden, something will happen and I'll go back to me gorging and eating no exercise. She goes, I'm constantly up and down. She goes, I've been doing that for like 40 years. She goes, and you're saying you can help me? And I went, mm-hmm. And she came. She was and I did literally within the
I have
first
no
session.
doubt.
Afterwards, I must have done some conversational hypnosis. We never really know which bit it is that we do, because there's so much that we can do, because it's not all in trance. There's
Yeah.
conversations that we have. And she couldn't believe it. And literally within 5 sessions, you know, and it happened from the first session. She goes, I can't believe it. I'm going out with my husband and I'm leaving my glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I'm being like a normal human being, like he can. I
Mhm,
can have it or not have it. I can do it. Or she goes, I can't believe this. I
mhm,
literally cannot believe that you did that. However, the story she told me and the things that I was able to clear with my eye movements, it was we could understand it, and she did in the end as well. She thought, oh gosh,
yeah,
that I get it now, because as she was we were going through her various things. Again, I
yeah.
don't hear the whole story, but it's just the nuts and bolts of it.
Mhm,
Was from how she was brought up as a child
yeah.
and something that happened, and we were able to clear them, and all those things went back on where they belong
Very
in
much so.
the
Yeah.
hippocampus. And that is, I can only assume that's what you do. What do you call your work that you do, Lenora?
Among the many things, yes, conversational hypnosis and a variety of techniques. My favorite is what I refer to as holographic memory resolution. And
Ah,
it is an emotional reframing technique
mhm.
for people. And there's so many commonalities in the world of hypnosis, in the world of personal growth. Holographic memory resolution is designed, and I did not design it, Brent Baum did, and I'm a practitioner of his approach. Everything is designed to ultimately get you back to safety, because there's something open and running in your mind, in your nervous system, that does not feel safe. And you're running these habits as safety mechanisms that are working to keep you safe. And it can feel like, especially in her case where she felt like it was all or nothing, these cycles can drive us up a wall and we don't know what the trigger is. And when we specialize in, whether you want to call it hypnosis, whether you want to call it change, or being an agent of change, whatever the case is, ultimately they all come back to the same thing. And it's getting that part of you to understand it's safe.
Yeah.
There's so many ways that it gets activated. And one thing that I absolutely learned through holographic memory resolution is as we're going throughout the day, no matter how mindful we want to be, we're actually getting pulled in and out of memory 15 to 50 times an hour, which means I can hear something that sounded like my parents said it, or I can hear something that made me think of my best friend, and they're just running in the background. So when you're not aware of it, and why would you be? You just don't know any different. When you're suddenly going and reaching for food and you don't know what that trigger was, you're going outside your mind going, and you think you can come over here and suddenly stop this thing that I've been dealing with for so long? Yeah, it's entirely possible.
Yeah, we can.
And we do it every day. Yeah. Ultimately, we're getting people back to safety so that they can actually feel that release, that relief that nervous system is A, not having, and B, deeply wanting.
Yeah, so it is. You're right. It's the nervous system. It's like literally on, fight, flight, freeze. It's like feeling unsafe. It will do anything it can to have that hug back. Anything, whether it be the all or nothing or whatever it is that they do. It's and people don't want to feel their feelings. It's safe to do it with somebody who is a practitioner like yourself or myself, or somebody who knows what they're doing. And it's and you are you I mean, you've got the book, so that's helpful. And what else? Tell me more about what you've got up and coming, Lenora.
Up and coming, several speaking events. So I know you and I get to participate in HTL, Hypno Thoughts Live, and a few conferences throughout the year, which is very exciting. And really teaching a lot of workshops, doing retreats, going to speaking events, and helping people understand that they're not broken, that these habits that they're experiencing, even if they don't want to experience it. And for sure, it can feel like the most awful things in the world that we don't talk about. I mean, I didn't tell anybody that I was what I was going through. I didn't tell anybody about the chaos that was going off in my mind at all until and I said this in my TEDx speech, and it's called How to Stop the Negative Thoughts. I was literally in the dentist chair getting another false tooth as a result of my eating disorder when I finally thought, maybe there's something you just don't know yet. Maybe despite all these books that you read, all these YouTube videos that you read, all these thousands of dollars that you invested in self-paced programs, they're not helpful just yet. And to go and work with somebody who actually understands a little bit about what you're going through. And when I reached out to the coaches that I have worked with, and still to this day that I worked with, they did not know me. There was no way that they were literally on the other side of the country because there was so much shame, there was so much humiliation and so much embarrassment. So when I'm teaching and when I'm in workshops, I share that with people because I want them to know that this part that feels like the ugliest thing that you could live with and you never want anybody to know about. And I've said before, I would have sooner taken that to the grave before I had told anybody. And I came to that conclusion, like, you know what, Lenora, you're going to need some extra help here because this will kill you before anything if you don't start getting help.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's really why I reached out to people who specialize in change.
Yeah. And do you know what I'm hearing there is that must have been very lonely, a very lonely place. And I can only imagine how that felt. And same for everybody else who is going through this, the shame of, it's like, oh my goodness. And as you say, it was like with your teeth, and then it's like you're getting those realizations. And I think that's beautiful that you are sharing. You're not sharing everything because you're not like crying and sobbing anymore because you've had the change work, but you're just letting people know enough so that they don't feel alone either, that they're not on their own, that you're holding their hand. And I've got you. You feel it's safe. It's safe to talk to me. And I love that. And I know you're a TEDx speaker, and I think that's wonderful. So we'll make sure we get those links in as well so that people can listen to that. I've listened to some of them. I think you've done 2 or 3?
I did too. Yes, one is officially recognized. The other one is unofficially recognized.
Okay, so I know I've definitely listened to one, and you're amazing. You're awesome, and
as are you.
Yeah, but I do agree. I share enough as well of what happened to me with my clients, just so that it breaks through the barrier of they know that I'm not going to judge them. And I think when you can see it visibly, when people go, oh, the shoulders go down. And for you, when you're sharing that and they go, oh, you know, because people sort of think, well, it's all right for you. You know, you don't know how I feel. Actually, we don't know exactly how you feel, but we might know enough. And you're not alone. And we're in this together, and let's get you where you want to be. So that
absolutely. I love that you shared that. It's especially when we talk about safe places and safe people. Really, you and I are not on social media like, this person was mean to me. What that really is creating that safety in your nervous system so much that when this other person comes to you, they feel it too. And I know we talked a little bit about our own experiences between having emotional eating and sexual abuse and dealing with your own things that go on in life. It's a part of our story, but also our recovery and how we've helped ourselves is a part of the story. And it has been so pivotal for us that this is why we do what we do.
Yes. This is why we do what we do, because we have several of the t-shirts.
Yes. Several.
And it's okay. And it makes us, and it's okay. So, and now we're here to help other people. Thank you for coming on, Lenora. And as I say, we'll get your links in the comments, and because it's all about helping people. So thank you. So thank you for watching, everybody. And it's goodbye from me, Claudia Rickard, and it's goodbye from
Lenora Edwards.
So take care, everybody.